I see you coming in, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm traumatized, bro. When I hear like,
Yeah, but that's just the radio. It's just them talking.
Man,
You know, it's our
here they
communication.
come, bruh.
They call the radio lifeline, by the way. We're not on there just snitching on you. We're more than likely it's something.
Yo, what's going on, Kutt?
What's up?
Hey, man, just chilling. Just tell the barber.
This is Cuff Johnson
with a Cuff and Kutt podcast. How long you been doing law enforcement, bro?
I've been doing it for about 3 years. Yeah. So you want the full bio? You know, one of those guys that like, hey, how do you like being a law enforcement officer? How many people have you arrested? No, but I'm joking. I know. I always answer this question with a positive spin on it because a lot of people have misconceptions on law enforcement, and I enjoy it. For the last 3 years, it's been challenging and also insightful in a lot of things that go on. I believe I help a lot more than I hurt. I don't believe I could hurt anything, but due to, misconceptions, people getting hauled off the jail yelling and screaming or having a rough time getting in the car, understanding that what they did was justifiable. But overall, it's been a very big on community, and I feel like I've changed my area a lot more than I would have, whether in any other industry.
Your community, you mean?
Yeah, my community.
So do you feel like, I've been cutting hair about 27 years, maybe 26 years. How do you feel? Because we're going to talk about cops and clippers today.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about building bridges between police and not only barbershops, but barbershops mostly in minority communities.
Yeah.
A lot of times barbershops are seen as a cultural type hub where we gather to talk about stuff that you might not be able to talk about in certain areas. Safe haven like.
Yeah, it's like it's confidential.
So what do you think the importance of building trust and positive relationships in the community, especially the minority community at barbershops? What do you think about that as far as where do you think we stand as far as you being an officer, me being a barber? You might look at me and I could be selling weed and you could be an officer. I'm cutting your hair, but you're a police officer, but I sell weed. So, this guy right here might come in with a gun on his hip. You sitting in there, and then he see you a police officer. There's always some dissonance there for whatever reason.
Right.
So what do you think the importance of that is? Like, what can we do? What should we do? Especially you guys being that, you're figures in the outer world, while barbers are more like, inner circle type guys.
Right. So that's a good question because it's kind of like you go to Walmart, you walk around Walmart, you're around every type of person. But when you go into a barbershop, especially, I don't see it as much anymore because I go to you, I have a one chair thing. So I don't have to go through the whole sitting in a room full of a bunch of dudes and single mothers with their kids that
crying babies
and bad kids.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was before law enforcement, because I've never really interfered with going into a bigger barbershop here. But being younger, when I was in Allentown back in Pennsylvania, I'd go in. It was all different type of people. You don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He might look like he sells drugs, but he might be, doing his own thing. So you go in with that amnesty. No one knows I'm a cop when I go into a barbershop. Nobody knows you're a drug dealer when you go in a barbershop. It's just you go in there you build community, you talk, I went to the club, blah, 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 or I'm building this, which it's a community. It's like a watering hole. Like you take off what you need, unless you some whack type of dude that's trying to smack somebody at the job or to get a haircut is kind of like messy. Yeah.
Well, to me, I feel like there's a disconnect, especially like I say, being that I work in the minority community, when I've had police officers run into our shop, handcuff everyone, search everyone, strip them down, take them to jail. I mean, that to me causes, problems between the police and just regular patrons, not just the barbers, but the patrons as well. So I say that to ask you, like, we're going to talk about a little bit later, the history and the state currently of relations between not just the barbershop and officers, but also the patrons that come in, where they are, and how there is a relationship that is not there. Like, what are we going to do about that?
So
So
I think this is a good idea. But also, you got to think about it like this. How often do barbershops get raided? It's not like every day this happens. But at the same time, you got to understand that there's more community built if you come together. And I understand there's those moments where, yeah, that happened. I agree. And it could sometimes could be the wrong people getting mixed up.
Right.
Which, there's a lot of, it's called reasonable suspicion, and then there's probable cause, which, when you're in a detention, you can be under in handcuffs. But they're going to release you at the end of that situation. They're not going to put you in the back of the car, take you to what we call BRC, the little jail down the street.
Right.
They could release you. Yes, that's not what we want. What we want to build community, that's 99%. But that 1%, yes, that happened. That's like the one-off in anything. Like, yo, your family member was a drug dealer. Now everyone's a drug dealer, right?
Right.
There's always the bad apples in law enforcement and in the streets. But you understand that 90% of that community building now, we're going to risk that because of one incident? Or the fact that you knew the dude was selling coke on the corner. You knew he was carrying it in the store. You knew you made it hot. The police came in here 3 days before. You knew there was something going on. Why not nip it in the butt? Get it out of there. Why make it bad for business? At the same, while the shoe's on the other foot.
Yeah.
This episode of the Cuff and Kutt podcast is brought to you by the Man Bib Barbershop.
Now, when you were young and you went to the barbershop, you said that you saw everybody and you never knew who did what.
Right.
One may look some way, one may act a certain way, but you didn't never know. So you said it's a place of amnesty, safe place, safe haven, where you can come together and talk about community events and stuff that's going on. Do the police understand that by going into these barbershops and building a relationship with the owners and even the patrons, do they understand that effective communication and active listening could help build those bridges instead of coming in with a preconceived notion? Because I know when I was growing up, I saw it all. Like I said, I see, like you were saying, somebody sell drugs, and this dude right here might have been a pimp. You know, I need to know what kind of initiative can we take today to bring it back to that, because it's going away. Like, I work in a suite. I got my own, my own thing going on. But I worked in a barbershop for 20 plus years, so I have that experience. But what I will say is, other than the police officers who congregated there to get their haircuts, we never saw you.
Right.
So then when we did see you, was always coming in to get somebody. Right. So I know in Atlanta they have a program, it's called Barbershop Talk with Cops in Atlanta, where they go in and get, they have like a forum, kind of like what we're doing now, but it's a group of people, the barbershop owners for the community, the patrons come in, and you would think that if you guys want to have a good relationship, that, you would be more willing to come in there and just talk. It can help you solve crimes. It can help the community be safer, because we both want a safe community. We don't want nobody coming in our barbershop running up on us trying to take nothing from us. Right. And you don't have to. You don't want to have to
run in there and chase after dudes through the back door. Yeah, no.
Right.
Yeah,
So, what type of initiatives or programs do you guys offer your agency? How do you build relationships in your community that you work in?
So, to answer the question about when I was younger, I used to go to this place specifically. Shout out VIP back in Allentown. That's where everybody used to go to.
OP Town, baby.
Oh, VIP. Like, I don't forgot what street it was on. It doesn't matter. But I remember when I used to be younger, my mom was white. She would take me in there, and she's the way she is.
Wait a minute, you say was? Your mom still here? I remember she gave me some banana nut bread for Christmas, man. What you talking about, bro? Don't be talking about she was here. Come on, mom. Shout out to mom for the nut bread, bro. That was good.
But she used to take it to this place called the VIP. It was like a little basement joint from like the joint from the basement from the BET. So it was very in the hood, like. Yeah. And they got raided a couple times, so I would hear about that. Yeah. And she would get scared and not take me back for a couple months. So I used to have an afro, if you know. I used to get cornrows maybe once a year. Or when I was younger, I got my hair cut when I was younger, when I acted up. Anyway, so there was that experience. Yes, I remember the moments where I heard about it. I never saw a raid happen where I'm sitting there. That'd be very traumatizing, or could be traumatizing.
I'm sure.
But to go to the future now, talking about now, I know for a fact, for myself and my partners as well, we're very community oriented. We go to businesses. We go to barbershops. We go around kids. We go around everybody, so they see our presence. I do believe it does cause a big chain reaction, because, you see cops everywhere. Dudes that are trying to do the wrong thing are not going to pop out where the cops are. Right. They're going to take advantage of when we're not around. So when you do open presence and you're out there in the streets, your community, you're talking to people, you find out who has, Billy Ball got a warrant. He's been doing this, that, and the other. we can go there. And now community organization, we do a bunch of different things in our area. Off the top, we do have a community relations program and agency within our agency that does basketball. I've done boys and girls basketball. I've interacted with youth playing basketball. I think that's like one of the big connecting. Food, where we eat, we share a meal together, we sit there, or just going walking up to a bunch of people and just saying, yo, hey, how y'all doing? What's going on? And even more so when you go get a haircut. I think the haircut is the most, it brings people together because it's the common thread. Right. Nobody wants to walk around with a bad haircut. Right, Nobody walks around with some people walk around with the bowl, but you don't want to have a messed up lineup. So you're going to go to the place that has the best barbers where everybody's going to congregate. So you're sitting there, you're laughing, you're talking about the Jordan LeBron debate, who's the best rapper and all that. And you're going to have that community for that little bit. You're going to find out what clubs to go to, what places you can go out to eat, all through this one central, I call melting pot, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
So with us, there's opportunities. We run into different places as cops. There's search warrants are being served, yes, but if you work with us, we work with you. You Correct. Tell us like, oh boy, yeah, that's old boy that beat up his wife.
Yeah, so that way we can kind of play off each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that was kind of the point I was getting at. The barbershop was actually for that. In the early 20th century, in the 1900s, even the late 19th century, that's where blacks were able to go and talk about what was going on around, what places to avoid, and how to stay safe and out of the people's way. I think the big disconnect comes in where you send non-minority officers into minority areas, and those officers don't treat according to the people how they feel. They don't get respected. They get like stereotyped. Like this is how, if I look at you, this is this area, or you're in Pine Hills, or you're on North Lane, or you're on Ivy Lane, or you know what I mean, or you're on Bruton Boulevard, or you're cross town. I think the disconnect comes when we don't have officers that know the community they're working in. Yeah. That to me has caused like the biggest rift, as far as it goes with building bridges into communities with the barbershop and the police officers, because we can help you guys.
I agree.
Help solve crime. Not necessarily saying, I'm going to go snitch and tell everybody business, you may have seen something that somebody came and have said. You're like, well, I don't know. Dude told me that this might have happened, or this could have allegedly happened. Right. And then now you got a relationship with those people. But I think we're missing the commonality from when the officers come into the hood. So what do you think about that?
So when you got the officers we're talking about basically in a black neighborhood, we're talking about the white officer. We'll be straight up.
Correct.
So I know I work with a bunch of different type of people. I believe that sometimes we do get the misconceptions, especially as white officers, that we're coming in for a reason.
Yeah. If I see you coming in, bro, I ain't gonna lie. I'm traumatized, bro. When I hear like,
but that's just the radio. It's just them talking.
Man,
it's our communication,
bro.
They call the radio Lifeline, by the way. We're not on there just snitching on you. We're more than likely is some poor dispatcher trying to get our attention, and it's a lot more to that. But the white officer, sometimes he just takes that edge off because they're scared too. I'm not gonna front; they're probably scared too because all they heard growing up,
bad things about these areas and how they're working in it.
I've driven down there. I'll never show my face in so-and-so's alley. And, And, I'm going back to where I live. I'm going back to the suburbs, wherever they may live. There's some that grew up in the hood. Right. They may take advantage of being in the hood. They think they have these stereotypes too, but it's disarming. You got to understand why would if a Caucasian dude came into your barbershop getting a haircut, you're going to give him the same quality haircut as a black person. Correct. Same thing as a law enforcement. We should be able to go into a barbershop with the same respect we give to everyone else. We give it to you. Not to be on the race relation committee and pandering, but in all seriousness, I believe that us as officers, we should be able to go into any facility with respect and honor to anybody. Right. Now, when it's business. And like I was telling you earlier in the segment, you know when we're coming. It's not like we're just gonna pop up with 20 officers. If there was a murder outside, you heard the gunshot. Right. We're coming. We're gonna investigate because we want to make sure that family, that person that got killed, they get to serve the justice that they deserve.
I think that's fair. That's a good assessment.
This episode of the Cuff and Kutt podcast is brought to you by introducing Labels by Lynn, a Christian clothing brand dedicated to delivering both fashionable apparel and a powerful message of faith. With custom designs available, you can create a personal and meaningful wardrobe that reflects your beliefs and personality. Each piece is crafted with the highest standards of quality, making it a perfect way to share the love of Jesus Christ with those around you. Visit labelsbylynn.com today.
So give me a couple of examples of some tips that you think can help build bridges between cops and clippers.
Okay. So when we think about this cops and clippers subject of bringing tips and people in from the law enforcement side, I think for us, it's definitely going in there with genuine. Stop trying to go in there looking around. And I understand there's plain view and, all our other statutes and things that we have to follow policy-wise, but when you're going in there, you're not even on duty. You're coming
Most
after
times,
work.
yeah.
You're just in your uniform. You're gonna produce a stereotype. Everyone has a stereotype, but until you can go in there consistently, and you're not gonna get it the first time around. No matter where you go, it doesn't matter if you're going to the mall or anything. In your uniform, people are gonna look at you with respect, or they're gonna look at fear, or what did I do, or whatever that may be coming from it.
So you need more positive interactions. That's a good tip.
That's
Positive
a big. I
interactions.
think the positive interactions. I think for the biggest thing is presence. Not presence of pulling. The only time you talk to somebody is when you pull them over, go to the restroom, or you're getting food. You get out your car, you talk to the person that's on the corner. You talk to the homeless people because you're building community. You go inside the stores. You go inside the barbershop. You say, "Yo, what up? What up?" Dap up the owner. I think that's the biggest things. You're a representation of your community. You're not the authoritative, you're not there as the army. You're there as a community relations, ultimately.
So out of all those efforts to do that, I feel that it's beneficial for both you guys and for us. Because if you build that trust with you guys, and we have positive interactions, then we'll be more likely to maybe want to assist or to prevent things from happening.
Yeah, it's all about prevention. That's what I know I press, and I say this all the time. Prevention is over having to do something. If you can prevent crimes by being in that spot for that shift, you're preventing crimes. You're preventing the issue happening so that you don't got to react to it every single time. Same thing at the barbershop. Like, we connect with you, y'all can help us prevent it by giving us presence. Thinking about the store that I go to all the time, Presidente, shout out.
You went to Presidente?
Presidente.
Good meat sales.
Yeah. But no, in all seriousness, when you walk in, we don't have to necessarily give us a bottle of water, but show that positive interaction.
Yeah.
And we'll stand there, we'll chill, we'll chop it up with you, giving you the opportunity of preventing things, but also showing community organization.
Man, them people are probably looking at you like you just trying to find out something to snitch on.
Man.
That's what I'm just giving you the perspective, man. We got our eyes looking at y'all sideways every time we see you.
We're looking at you sideways because of the fact that everyone looks at us crazy. I'm used to it.
What you expect though? If you look at it, as you said, most times the interactions are not positive. Most times. Now, I'm talking about interacting when you're being in your law enforcement capacity.
No, I get it.
You understand what I'm saying? So when you come into a barbershop, especially if we know we didn't call you, and all of a sudden you show up, everybody starts checking their pockets down, trying to wait, do I got anything on me? That type of stuff. I feel that you come in, just given what I've experienced, you kind of come in with a chip on your shoulder, like, look at me. I ain't saying you, bro. Come on, man. Come on, Cuff. You different. Huh? You built different, man.
Everyone's built different.
I've heard a lot about you in the streets, and everybody who I've talked to, they all say you're a good dude. You care. You don't mind talking to people, and that is the thing that we're really missing is the communication.
I get it. I get what you're coming from.
Because I might leave the barbershop and I get pulled over by one of your buddies. I'm like, well, darn, I didn't do nothing. Why are you pulling me over?
Right.
That's the first thing we say. What you pull me over for?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's automatically on and popping.
Yeah.
But if you come, you handle that kind of relationship, then every time we interact with you guys, it's going to be like that.
Yeah. No. So I agree. So sometimes, that's a whole different thing. We could talk about that, how to properly handle a traffic stop.
Yeah.
One day, but
we can get into that.
There's a lot more positives that come out of those possible negative situations. So every time we walk into this place, 90% of the time, we're not looking for somebody. Unless we go in there, we're looking for somebody. We'll probably announce it. We're not just going in there looking for trouble.
I was sitting in the barber chair. I was cutting somebody's hair in the barbershop one day. A dude come running into the barbershop and runs in the bathroom and locks the door. And like 5 officers just come into the barbershop.
That's different. That's a legit foot
busting
pursuit.
my door like that.
Yeah, I mean, you will pay for it. The county will pay for it. You just go and get that little case number on that little business card. Your insurance will take
I'm
care
doubling.
of it.
You're gonna pay me double.
No, man,
I'm
I don't know.
shocked.
I don't know how that works.
PTSD, bro.
My man's running in there. He probably has a gun on him, or he's
Yeah,
committed
coke on
something
him.
that's
He has some drugs in him.
a very
Yeah.
big issue. We're chasing him because we got to apprehend this dude that's causing an issue within the community.
I guess that's public safety. Gotcha.
I mean, what do you want to do?
No,
when
we both about that life as
Then
far as
y'all-
public safety is
yeah.
concerned. We want prevention. You know, we want you guys to come in more
This ain't
so.
Chicago. We
Right,
don't.
I know, right? Yeah, that's true. But we like the non-enforcement interactions, especially as a black man.
Community relations.
Yeah, but non-enforcement, like you don't come, like you said, you guys like to go play basketball, you know,
Right.
football. You go and
Right.
talk with the kids at the playground, stuff like that.
Right.
But then when they turn around and see you come and take their mom or their dad to jail, and the way they getting treated at that time, hey,
So one thing we try and do is, at least within my community that I know, when those type of calls go down, you separate the children. You have to call DCF. You have to call these organizations that are going to come on there and talk to the kids. And yes, there's a lot of times, especially domestic situations, the kids are there. But you know what you do. You have multiple units, or we call it units, but officers there. There's going to be one with the kids. Separate the kids. Get the kids some water. Talk to the kids while we deal with the parents, figuring out what and who, what, where, and when happened. You're not going, no, that's my dad. I've only had that happen one time, and that was traumatic when I remember that.
yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, it is traumatic, but the thing is, there was a legit crime.
But in the barbershop, though.
Oh, in the barber. We're talking
When
not in somebody's home.
Not necessarily at home, I'm saying, but in the barbershop setting.
Okay.
When the cops and the clippers come together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead
yeah.
of maybe talking to the shop owner,
Yeah.
you know, talk to the patrons.
Right.
Talk to them, see what they're talking about. Ask, they might have some concerns of their community that they're in. You know, then you can find out how to police more effectively. Just saying it, period.
No, I get it.
Because the more you know about what's going on in the community that you work in,
Right.
the better that you can police that area.
Exactly, and I agree with that 100%. And I think that's the biggest thing. I talk to everybody. I try and talk to at least 5-6 people a day,
Yeah.
if need be. And a lot of times it's just asking simple questions that they can look on the website, but I can answer it. But then when you're saying like going in and answering questions, and you know we ask questions too. Like I'm gonna join in the conversation, especially if it's funny. I'm gonna join in as well because it is funny. And sometimes I just need that break in between calls of just talking to somebody normal instead of talking about police stuff in that moment.
Yeah, so we talked about the unique relationship between the communities and police.
Right.
We talked about some of the importance of building trust and positive relationships. Then we talked about some tips that can maybe help us move forward to build those relationships. Cops to Clippers, building the bridge between
It takes
police.
both sides though. Ultimately.
Yeah. Cup and Cut podcast,
Yo.
brought to you by Man Bill Barber Suite.
Brought to you by Delinquency.
Also labels by Lynn. It's the shirt for me.
Yeah.
For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you.